Welcome to the night zone. Hear the warriors speak. Life's the battlefield and we ain't feeling weak. From love to the game and the power we seek. Our voice is strong, breaking every peak. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Talk of love and battle scars, everything that's real. From touchdown to sermon, you know the deal. Strength in every word we begin to reveal. Truth in every tale as our lives we unveil. Protect and provide, we're knights in the fray. Nothing off limits, we got something to say. Life and love, fitness and fight all day. Guys Night Podcast, let's ride the wave.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Guys Night Podcast. As always, I am Will, and I am here to my left with David.
Hey everybody, how's it going? This is David. I was brought to my attention I'm too basic with my intros, so I got to say a whole bunch of stuff, not just like, what up?
Fair enough. And to my right, as always, Evan.
What's going on, everybody?
What's up, buddy? And tonight our guest is coming to us from Medina. So Kirk, welcome. Big Dog Daddy.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, dude, really excited. Just to get some housekeeping out of the way before we get into Kirk and his story, guys, make sure if you're looking for merchandise, you check out the guysnight.com. Check out some of the stuff that we have on for available, as well as if you're looking to be a guest on the show, there's a quick link for you to fill out some information, send it in to us. We'd love to have anybody that wants to be on. And there's also some stuff on there with some of the affiliates and stuff that have joined us. Real quick announcement, too. Special thanks to Elevate Wrestling Academy. They were on a couple of weeks ago. He reached out to me yesterday, and law enforcement personnel are getting 30% off right now. So make sure you reach out to them. Great way for our local law enforcement, EMT, firefighters. You want to do a little extra jiu-jitsu, they're doing 30% off. And then obviously John Garrison, who's running that clinic, is working as an EMT firefighter. So great connection that he's doing. We appreciate him offering that to anybody that's paying attention. So if you haven't already, make sure you reach out to them. We'll have that on the website as well here this week so that you can get some more information on it. But really cool how the networking is starting to create some opportunities for everybody. So we're happy to share that. All right, so without further ado, Kirk, appreciate you coming on. Interested to hear a little bit about your story. So what I'm familiar with was obviously Big Dog Daddy's BBQ that opened up. It's probably been about 2 or 3 years now.
The actual brick and mortar, it was January 2023 when we got ourselves open for the brick and mortar.
And then before that, you were right down the street in a food truck for quite some time. Real short term, kind of like just during the day, lunch hours, really.
And then we did events.
You always had a line.
Yeah, and then we did events and stuff like that. Too. So yeah.
And then you've got a new adventure that you just started recently.
Man, I'm crazy. Yeah, no,
Kirk's given up on sleep. I think.
No, for sure. No, it's we're getting ready to start our second restaurant called Dilly's Cantina. We're partnering with Picklebacks located in the Common Grounds here in Medina. So we're going to keep the barbecue theme at Big Dog Daddy's, but at the Dilly's Cantina, we're going to be looking at pulling some taqueria type stuff. We make really great guacamoles. We're going to be doing some wings, charcuterie, and since the building was an old pickle factory, we're going to be incorporating some pickled items and things like that too. So I'm excited. Got a lot going on right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of an up and coming area too. We were actually just there not too long ago over at Picklebacks.
Yeah.
Right. And they had a networking event. And I mean, that's a cool vibe just in that aspect alone. But then you get all the other on the weekends. I know they do the events for a lot of the different vendors and stuff that are in there for like homemade goods, signs, clothing, all kinds of just random stuff. And then they've been trying to do some events too where they've had a fitness community come in there kind of and do some stuff. I know they've done some arts and crafts boutiques and stuff like that in addition. So
yeah, they've actually there's a skateboard community as well that they bring in. They've got some ramps and rails and stuff. It's really crazy the things that they do in there. They're actually a cornhole tournament place in there. I mean, it's really neat, that whole building and what they're really doing there.
Yeah, indoor rock climbing, I think, is
Yes.
something that
Yeah.
I've seen. I haven't been in there. I actually talked to the fiance or wife of the owner of 330 Cornhole. I've reached out to him a couple of times. We hope to have him on here shortly, just because I mean, cornhole is something that never goes away.
Absolutely.
Everybody loves
Right.
it, and they're going to do some tournaments. And they've got a really cool setup in there. I don't know if you've been inside their their room or not, but yeah, that's just a cool area. It's kind of off Medina a little bit, so I don't think it gets as much traction as it should. But obviously, there's indoor karting in that. That's kind of in that back area. We had Gabe from MK Airsoft, which shares that parking lot.
Such a cool. That place is really awesome.
That
Yeah.
place is super
Yeah,
awesome.
it's pretty cool.
So let's start off. What's your story? How did you get into cooking, and how did it turn into some businesses? And tell us a little about yourself.
I'll try to condense it. When honestly, in high school, it was kind of like out of necessity. My mom, she took a job as a travel agent, and just felt like, hey, I just want to start cooking things. So like lasagnas and things like that, just simple stuff. Then it kind of got into grilling a little bit. Again, that was just kind of out of necessity. So left, joined the Marine Corps, went off, did that for 4 years, came back. Never really got much more into it until I met my wife, started cooking there. My father-in-law kind of helped rekindle that passion. I had probably one of the best steaks I ever had on like those little small Smoky Joe,
Yeah.
Charcoal grills. Like, it was just like he gave us one of these steaks one night, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this was like the best steak I ever had. And so, like, from there on, I started charcoal grilling and stuff like that, and just kind of pull things together. I'm not gonna lie, I was really lucky. I had my wife was my sugar mama. She had a great job, and it afforded me an opportunity to just really start playing in the kitchen. So when she would come home, I made sure that she always had a great meal, and I just kind of made it like just kind of my thing. So. Yeah, it's just kind of how I just started cooking. I mean, I'm not culinary trained, but I love it. It's just something I'm passionate about. And, you kind of I don't know, you just keep rolling with it. Yeah.
I mean, I've eaten your food several times, and so I'd have to argue you are culinary trained. I mean, it might not have been at a university or anything, but
Those brisket tacos.
oh my gosh.
So good. Just thinking about it, it's making my mouth water right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how did the food truck idea evolve?
So it really actually started off. So we're from Defiance, Ohio, which is way on the other side of the state. I actually started off on a hot dog cart. We started doing that. And when I did the hot dog cart, to me, it was important to do quality type hot dogs. So there was a small butcher shop over there that I bought my hot dogs from. Brookview Farms is where we got our stuff from. They're really good. They're like a naturally smoked hot dog. And so we started with that. So when we moved over here to Medina, again, my wife, she worked for General Motors. She got a promotion. We moved over here. And so we tried getting that off the ground in Medina. And I'm just really ran into all kinds of just pushback, just was not able to get it going. I mean, between the health department, just the way the city was, and it just didn't work. So we decided
with the food cart type thing.
Yeah, with just the hot dog cart. I wanted to do it on a square. You know how Medina is. Medina is very community oriented, and I just thought it would have been really great, but it just didn't work out.
That's a shame. I actually had that conversation with my daughter. I was like, man, you guys are teenagers. Why don't you guys just open up like a little quick stand down on the square and just sell hot dogs and pop for $2 or whatever?
I mean, you're really not infringing upon any of the local businesses. You're offering something quick. It actually brings somebody into the community, into the square. Hey, who just wants a quick hot dog? But yeah, it is what it is.
Red flags kept that from actually being a thing, huh?
Yeah, it just didn't work out. So
Interesting.
Yeah. So
I wonder if you could do something maybe off the square, like, I mean, it's all kind of walkable in that area there, but I wonder if there's another business where you could do that.
Yeah, that yes. So at the time, I mean, when we're new over here, I didn't really know a whole lot of people didn't have that. I did in Defiance. I was able to do it on the city sidewalks, and they embraced it. So anyways, we just put everything off. That was like in 2015 when we moved over here and just decided, right, we're not going to do it. So I was kind of a stay-at-home dad for a little while, and it really afforded me an opportunity to really start trying new things. So bought a pellet smoker, started getting into that, and just really starting to harness, what barbecue is and things like that. Started just playing around with making my own barbecue sauces, and then I think it was like 2017, and then and this is crazy. My wife, actually, it was like 2018-ish, going into 2019. She's like, maybe we should start looking at food trucks or food trailers. And I was like, normally I'm the one that's like pushing this kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she was like, hey, why don't we look into it? So I started looking into it, and that was it. I mean, it was history. We just decided to take the plunge, and 2019 we got that barbecue smoker up and running in the trailer. And then we were approached actually right towards the end of the pandemic in 2020 from Medina Brewing Company about, what do you think about putting food in here? So it took some time to get that going, negotiating things, and then the build out process. But 2023 we got ourselves up and running.
Wow, that was quite some time from entry level discussions till wrap up. And I know that building in general just took a long time to put together.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the smoker in the trailer? Like, because we're both, Will and I both smoke, and Evan comes over and eats it.
Oh yeah,
That's the best job right there.
The food
You got the best job.
But I mean, we've both got different setups, but we're familiar with the process, and we both own pellet smokers. But what so you evolve from just a simple pellet smoker to what was on the first trailer?
So Old Hickory Pits is they make a CTO convection type thing. It's really sharp. They call it like a mailbox style kind of smoker. Had 4 racks in it, full wood, and it had a competition switch on it. So if I just wanted to run straight wood, I could run just straight wood. If I wanted, I could use a gas assist. And that's what I started off on. So I stuck with that same brand when we went into the Big Dog Daddies over at the Farmers Exchange building. Except I went like industrial.
Upsized a little bit.
Oh yeah. It's my baby. I got a picture of it when I got it. I'm like hugging this thing.
So you're smoking everything in the actual brewing company or down there? What's the overall name of that building? I'm trying to think.
Farmers Exchange building.
Exchange, yeah. So you're smoking everything on site there?
Everything's on site. So we do it all. Briskets, the butts, the ribs, everything's there. Chicken wings. Do got to brag a little bit with us starting this new venture. Probably over the last 5-6 months, my wife has literally been smoking about 98% of the stuff that's been going in on your plate. So if you've been here the last 5 months, she's the one who probably smoked it.
Wow.
I spent the first.
We just ate there last weekend.
Yeah, it was.
Yep. I spent the first about 2 months just showing her how I trim briskets, how I do butts, how I get ribs prepped, how I do wings, and so she is just really taken on to it. And last 5 months she's been killing it.
Wait, so did she leave her regular gig?
So General Motors offered a buyout. And so she took that buyout, and so we do this full time now, husband and wife.
That's awesome.
Good for you guys.
Hey, it's not what it's always cracked up to be. There were some learning curves, and so, we'd had some button heads, but you know what? We've come together, and I think we have a stronger relationship now because of just out of necessity. You either sink or swim. So
yeah, for sure. Well, especially since both of you. I mean, all the cards are on the table with this now, right?
It's scary, not gonna lie, but we're excited about the opportunities.
So they come to you in 2019. Takes you about 2 or 3 years between negotiation, but also the build up, right? Because I mean, that building, for those that don't know, the Farmers Exchange used to be a feed store for years and years. Closed down, I want to say probably 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, and then it got completely remodeled to where they've got. I haven't actually seen it, but I know there's apartments upstairs. You've got Keller Meats. You've got the pierogi lady there on the first level. You've got the
grocery store too.
Yeah, the little grocery store inside of it. And then you've got the farmer's table, which is obviously a restaurant above yours.
Yep.
And then in the basement, you've got the Medina Brewery little bar area, which didn't have any food or anything, and it didn't work together with upstairs, I don't think, at that point. So then you guys come in downstairs, put that place in. It's just it's a great vibe for that little place. And I know it's kind of at the beginning of the square. which is kind of ideal. It keeps you out of that indoor or that square traffic kind of.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's just a cool spot, cool vibe altogether. And you've definitely put together a menu that fits that place really well.
I think so. I think just with what Medina Brewing, what they're trying to do and their craft brews, and then it just really does have a neat industrial. It's an old it's a basement, but it's done really well, and so
Yes.
it does fit. So
Yeah, they had live music that night.
Yeah,
we
they
were,
did.
Yeah,
we were
Friday,
in there,
Saturdays.
and I couldn't. There were no frowns on anybody in that place. Everybody is just smiling and having a great time in there.
Yeah, and we talk about community all the time, but it's awesome when there's businesses like that succeed. And we haven't had Keller's on, but I think we'd love to eventually have them on as well. Just talk about it. Now, do you get your food and your meat from them, or do you guys still work with the farm that you were with previously?
I do work with Keller Meats. We offer bratwurst burgers, and we use their bratwurst. So instead of it being in links, we have them make it 3-pound patties, and then we grill them there in the kitchen. They're actually really good. Everybody would think, why would you make a bratwurst a burger? Well, that's just kind of the way my childish brain works, so why not? But yeah, Keller makes some really great sausages. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
So let's talk about, before we get into the third opportunity, let's talk a little bit about that process from going to just doing it in your backyard to then going to the food truck and then obviously having your own business now. Learning all these different ways to smoke meat to prepare it perfectly to the point where you can do it on a mass index. It's one thing to do the perfect brisket like today, but then you could completely screw it up the following week. I promise you.
I still do every now and then. Not gonna lie.
I've 100% had $60 briskets that tasted worse than a $5 cheeseburger.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was that process like? Where did you like pick things up? Were you doing your research? We talk about YouTube and things like that, or
I guess my personality and the way I am is I'm not afraid to just try things. So when I got into barbecue, I just kind of dived into it. And then I'm also not afraid to ask questions. There's all kinds of information on YouTube. So I watched a lot of videos and was kind of like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And then I take from what they do, but do it the way I want to do it. So change recipes up, make things the way I want. And just kind of take processes. And so it took some time doing that, just learning. And it really, barbecue comes down to a couple things. It's time and temperature, right? Once you get your temperatures down and you're hitting your temperatures, you just kind of watch your timing. And it's all within the kind of same, like I've got it down to almost a science. I'd like to think so, but there's some days I walk in and I'm like, I have no idea just what happened. Like yesterday, this was perfect. Today, it's not, because that's just the way it is in the barbecue world.
especially when you're smoking,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
I mean, wood, everything. There's so many different plays
Ambient
into it.
temperatures. I mean,
Climate,
between moistures and all kinds of stuff like that. Winter can drive temperatures up on the smoker, so I can walk in and I'm thinking it's gonna be okay. Maybe I got another hour. Nope, we're there. So yeah, it takes time. I don't know. Barbecue. Once you kind of like, I'm still learning it, but I feel like I'm very confident with what I do. But in the middle of that, while I'm doing that, I'm like, to me, I'm like, okay, well, I could just go buy a bottle of Sweet Baby Ray's, but why would I do that? At the time, I didn't have any desire to do a food trailer, do a barbecue thing, but this is just the way I am. I'm like, well, I'm going to have my own barbecue sauce. So I just decided to sit down and throw this in there, and I'm like, okay, well, it needs a little bit of that, and taste my way through it. And came up with my own original barbecue sauce, and then that's just kind of the way I am. I'm not afraid to try things, and if I fail, I fail. But at least try it again or something else.
So are you're mass making your barbecue sauce there in the restaurant for your food then, or
for
what you do,
service.
Any thoughts on eventually outsourcing it or anything like that?
I can bottle it now. I do have bottles, and I can bottle it. The problem is I can't hot fill it.
And what does that mean?
So if you hot fill it, meaning I'm cooking it and it comes up to a boiled temperature, and then I bottle it, and I'm trying to create like a hermetic seal, so that way I could shelf life it and try to sell it. If I were to do that, then I have to go through Department of Agriculture. To do that, you got to get it tested, and it costs thousands of dollars to do
Gotcha.
that process. I want to eventually. What we do now is we cold fill it. So what we do is we heat it up like we normally would, and then we bring it back down to a cold temperature, and then we fill it in the bottles. And then I have to date it, give it a 7-day date, and you can utilize it with those 7 days. So we are doing that now a little bit with the goal in mind where I would really love to just be able, just the original itself, I would love to be able to just sell that off the shelves, because
Yeah.
it really is it's a labor of love, but it's my baby. So,
Yeah, and it's also a next step, right, for that business, and kind of a way to expand it. And I mean, everybody loves their barbecue sauce. There's so many different ones out there, but I think there's something different to a local made barbecue sauce when you can go in and tell the guy that made it, dude, this is some awesome barbecue sauce.
Yep.
So what went into to creating the menu? Because people hear barbecue, right? Depending on where you've eaten barbecue before, you could been down in Texas where you're eating, huge slabs of brisket along with sausages and everything else. You've obviously got some competitors here in town that do things a little bit differently. So what led to you saying, hey, we're going to do simple things like, I mean, you guys go tacos, you do a lot of specialty hot dogs, you do sausage, the bratwurst burgers, but you don't really do like tray of, smoked turkey or anything like that. So what led to creating that menu?
I think part of it was driven off of the food trailer. Excuse me. I think most of that came from food trailer days, just because I wanted something that, if you go to an event with the food trucks or food trailers, a lot of it there's some creativity there. And I didn't want to do, and yeah, I do a simple pulled pork sandwich or a simple brisket sandwich. That's easy to do, but I wanted something that was kind of like, hey, this is a little bit different. I mean, yes, there's other people out there who do brisket tacos, but I wanted to deliver, just come up with different flavors that work together with just the smoke, also with the barbecue sauce, and then, that chili lime aioli that we put on our tacos. It was
So
just,
good.
I mean, and people call it our crack sauce.
He is trying to make us hungry.
I'm thinking, I'm like, I wonder if we're gonna have enough time to get down there after this.
I should have brought some here. What was I thinking? I mean, we could have put them right here in front of the camera.
Oh man!
Yeah, but no, just I wanted something that was just pull some different flavors together. So, I don't know. I tell people this is the way my childlike brain works. So this is just kind of the way I think of things.
Well, it works, and I think you have the right idea, because it's not like when I think of where you guys are located in there, I don't think of like a sit-down barbecue restaurant. It's like that. Hey, we're stopping in real quick. Let's grab a bite to eat.
Yeah.
Enjoy some music, maybe, and then a lot of those people are down there. They're having their beers. They're going down there to do some of the craft beer drinking and stuff like that. They don't want to just overstuff themselves like I would do if I could buy a $70 plate of brisket.
Well,
so.
I mean, honestly, I will not be afraid to say that, I have competitors in town. Brian from Swine, him and I, we get along great. We're both Marines. Brian does his things the way, his model was Texas style barbecue. And so I'm, go for it. That's the way you want to do things. I don't know. I feel like I want to take barbecue, and there's a lot more. There's so much more in my head that I want to be able to pull out. But it's all timing, and there's going to be a lot more that will be coming through as this business evolves. But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, there's certain ways of doing things, and I'm just like a kid inside of an adult body, and I'm like, this sounds good. Why not try it? So yeah.
Well, okay, let's talk. And obviously, like, it's funny because as I hear your story, like, to go from like a hot dog cart to then your wife saying, let's get a food truck. Not even like you thinking like, I want to make that jump yet, but okay, let's do it. To your first restaurant, and then now to number 2. How does number 2 come about with Dilly's?
It's kind of crazy, to be honest with you. One day we just got an email out of the blue from Picklebacks, and they're like, "Hey, would you be willing to come in and take a look at our kitchen we got going?" They were in the process of opening up actually a barbecue restaurant in there. That was somebody was going to do a barbecue restaurant in there. They got about 75% through the build, and for whatever reason, they just decided that they just didn't want to do it anymore. And so they were looking for somebody to come in. And I do know a lot of some local restaurant owners in here, and a couple of them said, well, why don't you reach out to Big Dog Daddies and just see if they'd be interested. And so we got an email, and just to kind of, say, all right, yeah, let's just check it out. We'd appeased them and went there to go take a look at it. After talking with them and seeing what all the opportunities that they had available, just with that building, with Common Grounds and with what Pickleback is doing and everything else and the possibilities, they just gave us an offer that was just kind of really hard to refuse. So Sherry and I kind of went home and we were like, wow. And as a matter of fact, my wife took the buyout, and she was actually in the process and sending out resumes for taking a new job. And she just kind of looked at me and she's like, to be honest with you, she goes, we can I can go back to work. You work a second shift job. I'll be on a day shift job. You work weekends. I'll be off on weekends. And she goes, we'll hardly see each other. Or she was like,
You all right over there, buddy?
Yeah, I was just like,
Did you
whoa.
fall asleep or
No,
what
no,
happened?
I just hit my
He was not-
laptop.
I thought the diabetes
watching.
knocked
He's
him
nodding
out.
off over there.
Hit the laptop, and the laptop jumped.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm being boring, man.
No, not at all, man.
Not at all. No, I was just like getting really into it when you said you guys are taking second jobs and first
Well,
shift
yeah,
and
so-
second shift.
I think what he's
Right.
saying is he's really pissed you didn't bring any of those
I know.
tacos.
Yeah, I'm like,
He's
food.
over there
Screw this
eating.
podcast. We're out of here.
No, but go on.
No, so so she was like, we'll just be working second shift. She's like, or we can just live the life. And so we just decided, right, well, let's just do it. So we're going to do it. We're going to push all our chips all in. And so we adjusted Big Dog Daddy's hours to kind of mirror what Dilly's hours are going to be. So that way her and I, like technically right now, this is my Friday. So Monday, Tuesdays, my wife and I have our time off, and we get to spend each other,
So you guys are closed on Mondays and Tuesdays?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. We are looking at possibly bringing Tuesdays back to Big Dog Daddy's, but that's kind of down the road. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So has the new place opened up yet or not yet? I saw you had a couple events maybe, or maybe a couple of Friday and Saturday tests. or
Yeah. So
something.
right now we're doing what we're calling pop-ups, where we just go in, do some student. I still have to do pull some temporary license, almost like it's a food truck, to do the weekend stuff through the health department. We're not quite ready with the electrical work on the vent hood, so we've got a couple of issues that we're working through. Once we can get those issues taken care of, like I really should be able to just call the health department, get our license, and away we go.
Gotcha.
So, but I have not been able to hire a crew full time yet
Sure.
because I can't say, hey, March 22nd, we're going to be open. I don't know that. I can't bring anybody in. I do have servers, but the kitchen help them.
Yeah.
Not quite there yet.
Now, are you guys, because I haven't seen your actual setup there, but are you guys going to be set up like with picklebacks in the sense if you order at picklebacks, you'll be able to get food or?
Yep.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep. So Picklebacks is going to be try to pull in a full scope of this building. It's hard to explain when you've not been in there and not understand how the common ground works, and then seeing Picklebacks, and there's a big broad picture there. The common grounds has their weekend shops and things that they're open for, and they also once a month they bring in all kinds of other outside vendors, and they call those pop-ups. And a lot of people come in. There's times like, especially Christmas time and in the summer, they have some really big ones. I mean, there's thousands of people that come through there.
Absolutely.
And so I have an actual, I call it the corral. It's like a market side kitchen that's kind of more of a streamlined, simple. I can bring Big Dog Daddies in, do like mac and cheese and brisket bowls or things like that. And then I can do like just walking tacos or rice bowls, things that you could walk around handhelds and eat while you're
that's huge.
shopping.
Yeah.
And then the full scope of it all, and now you have Pickleback. So let's say you're in there and you're like, you know what, I want a little bit more. So you're doing some shopping and you want to kind of make it a long day of it. You can actually go in there, sit down, have a crafted cocktail. I have a server that'll come over, say, hey, here's our full menu. We've got some appetizers. We got charcuterie. We got some other things. And so you'll be able to have sit-down service there. So, that's just kind of the full scope of how that entire business is supposed to work.
Yeah, and it's funny because we were at an outlet mall today out in Aurora Farms, my wife and I, and like it was a great sunny day. It was fun to walk around and go to different stores that are outdoors and stuff, but there's no food.
Right.
And it's like we would have stayed for an extra hour or two if there was food and we could have just grabbed a bite to eat in between. So it'll be nice that that'll be something that's added back there, because I know they've tried some things earlier where they kind of had like a little pizza stand, I think, at one point in there, and a little barbecue
Yeah, I
spot
think
that
there's
they shared.
some
That little,
sandwiches and things. Yeah.
yeah. But they don't really, Picklebacks is actually a really nice bar, really nice
It's world
setup
class.
too.
I think it's world class as far as decorations and stuff. It's
And
really
great
nice.
drinks.
Yeah.
The bartenders there that have made a couple of different things for us recently, fantastic job. We actually saw them smoking a what's it called the other day that looked amazing.
Old fashioned.
Old fashioned. So I think that'll and they do some other events outside of just the weekend stuff, right? Because I think they do like they have live shows and stuff during the summer.
Yeah, they actually full bands. I believe, if I remember right, last year they like the front of Common Grounds. It's an old pickle factory, so there's like actually truck docks.
Yeah.
I think they bring in bands out there and they just play out to the whole thing.
Oh,
and
that's
then
pretty cool.
Inside Picklebacks on the outside of it has a huge deck and just big space, and they bring bands in out there. So
That's going to be big.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a
spring.
little nervous. I mean, there's some events where they say thousands of people show up, and so like I gotta bring my A game on some of those. So, but yeah.
So let's talk about the menu that you're bringing there, because obviously a little bit different than what you're doing now at Big Dog Daddy's barbecue spot, right?
Yeah, different.
Say that 3 times fast.
No.
Big Dog Daddy's. Big Dog Daddy's. All right.
No, yeah. It's kind of funny because my wife reminded me of this, because it's like, you know what, Kirk? She's like, we've actually been eating this for years. So, like, I do great barbacoa. I do really good carnitas, things like that I'm just like, oh, you're right. I have been doing that for a long time. And so we're just pulling things in that I know.
So when you guys, sorry to interrupt, but when you guys first talked about it with the Common Ground and with Picklebacks, did you guys have something already set, like, hey, we want you to build this? Or did you guys kind of like, after you decided to take the offer, be like, all right, let's build a menu?
No, I had 2 ideas going into it. I didn't want to walk into it and not, because I didn't want them to walk in thinking, all right, I'm going to compete against myself.
Right.
That just didn't make sense. So when I walked into it, because like, okay, I had 2 ideas. If you know anything about me, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go all in. It was either wood-fired pizzas, and just do it the right way, or I was going to do like a cantina style. But I felt like cantina was probably more of the vibe that they had, and I thought it would work a little bit better. It really does have kind of a sophistication about their decor, and very feminine vibe. It brings in, a lot of, I see it all the time. There's a female crowd that comes in there. And so I want a menu that's going to complement that. So that's why we kind of thought about charcuteries. My wife makes a phenomenal guacamole. So that's her recipe, babe, for you. So we're, it's her.
My wife will definitely be testing that.
Yeah. So guacamole. So that's hers. And we just want to be able to do other things too. Like I want to do like a mole chicken wings. With it being picklebacks, we're going to have a pickle fry. So it'll be fried pickles, but in a fry shape. And I do a really good dill pickle sauce. So it's like pickle on pickle. You can't go wrong with that. So
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Do you notice that people, they don't just like pickles, they obsess over pickles, like pickle people?
There's a pickle convention.
I'm well aware.
You're a non-pickle guy.
I'm that guy that when I like go to Chick-fil-A and they try and sneak that pickle on my chicken sandwich, I'm probably the reason they're closed on Sundays.
Yeah, I'm a pickle fanatic, dude. I put pickles on everything, extra.
You're
I
one of
love
the
my
few.
pickles.
I don't even like the smell of pickles.
It's funny. I don't mind a dill pickle. I'll put a dill pickle on sandwiches and stuff like that. But to me, I love a sweet pickle, especially a sweet and spicy pickle. Like, that's my thing since I was a kid, man.
David just left the
I was
chat.
gonna say you lost me with the sweet pickle.
No, I like
dill
a
guy, dill
sour
guy.
pickle.
Yes.
That's what I like.
Yep.
It's good sour.
Those are all right.
Garlicky,
Yes,
dilly.
yes.
Garlic, garlic, good. Yep.
I'm getting protective orders against all of you guys.
Just gonna be surrounded by pickles.
Can I change seats here? Because I don't know about this.
Yeah, right.
No, when I was in California, there was a pickle sandwich I had. They had 2 giant pickles. They cut them in half. They put meat in between it and made a pickle sub.
This is the exact
Brilliant.
reason I moved out of California.
Brilliant.
Sounds so
I was
good,
like,
though.
this is
That is
awesome.
a smart guy.
Yeah,
I'm a smart person.
Dude, we used
I
to.
forget the name of that. I'm gonna look up that name.
My wife and I will take slices of salami, just fucking Get a pickle, David. Just wrap it with the salami.
End of friendship.
Maybe wrap a piece of cheese around the outside of it. I'll eat that. I'll eat 100 of those without.
Also lactose intolerant, so they're just triggering me now. End of friendship.
All right, so then you got, and I hear you say brick oven pizza idea. So if there is a number 3, we might have a heads up to where that could be going.
No,
By the way, guys,
well, kind of in this family, but that's not where number 3 would be.
Yeah.
No,
the pickle was
Hold on a
made
second.
Jimmy
by-
John's has
Jimmy
it.
John's had it. That's where I had it. It was in
California went to Jimmy John's.
yeah.
Shaking my head. I was thinking it was some cool
I
little
was,
niche
it was
place.
years ago. Years
Jimmy
ago.
John's.
I was, but look at that. Look, that looks good. Come on, tell me that does not look good.
I would eat it. I would eat it.
Low carb.
Yeah, there you go. Low carb.
yeah.
So that would not be number 3. You have another
Number
ace up your
3.
sleeve.
Number 3.
Chinese food.
No, no. My heart is in Italian food, and not just like not spaghetti, meatballs, but more, ossobucos, saltabucos, like just the good stuff that you get at real high end restaurants. Like if you were to walk in and I was going to invite you over for dinner, you'd sit down and be like, you feel like you walked into a 5-star restaurant. The only reason why I don't is because I don't have the culinary experience, like working a line. Those are things that I kind of kick myself and wish I would have kind of got some of that experience. But no, that would be number 3 is fine,
We were
fine dining.
just saying that a couple of weeks ago. Like, we have shit for Italian food here.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's the one spot,
Well, we had
and I haven't eaten there in years, but Santa Suso's was kind of like
Pretty
the one
good.
spot. Good,
Yep.
decent food,
Yep.
good vibe though.
Yep.
What was that one place we went to a few weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago, when we went with a group of us?
That
it
was in
was
Medina.
not here in
And then
town.
it was not Medina. It was
No.
in
Parma.
North Royalton, I think.
Yeah, North Royalton, Parma, or VR, VH, or something like that.
Was
And
not here.
Yeah, it was not Medina.
No, that's a great idea. It's funny because I was just talking to my wife about this yesterday. We were talking about like now that Warehouse Gym is on this side, now that Acme Grocery Store is going to be on this side of town. I mean, you got a Dunkin' Donuts and a McDonald's and Taco Bell, whatever. But I was like, really, the only thing missing from this side of town is a restaurant. And I was like,
Right.
if somebody is smart, they'll put a mid to higher end restaurant out here. And I was like, if I was going to put a chain over here, the ideal chain restaurant would be like a Cheesecake Factory, right? Because you've got so many different types of food that there'd always be a reason to go. And
That's a good point.
but at the same point in time, there's like, and they just opened up the place right across the street from us here about, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, which is a nice little spot. But on this side of town too, you kind of have some higher end homes, some bigger developments,
Yep.
a lot more people. So like a place that would be fun to eat, but maybe even had a great patio with like midday specials, so that like kids leaving high school would have a place to kind of hang out. And I was like, I don't know how somebody hasn't kind of come up with that, because like especially right down where I'm at, mile up towards Medina, like you're close to the junior high, you're close to a bunch of elementary schools. You have so many families that are out there. I mean, if anybody knows anything about Handel's ice cream, it'll be 20 degrees in wintertime, and there's still a 30-minute wait to get
There's
ice
some
cream out there.
crazy people.
Like nobody wants to go through the square anymore if they don't have to. And it'll be interesting to see what happens when that Acme shows up, because I'm like, between Acme coming in on this side of town and Myers coming in downtown, who's going to go to Bueller's anymore, and what's going to happen to Giant Eagle? Like,
Makes you wonder.
yeah, it's tough.
So we got the name worked out. It's Grande Cane Papa Italiano.
Oh, is that the AI help you with that?
Yeah, it's Big Daddy,
Big
Big
Dog
Dog
Daddy.
Daddy Italian. So we got the name of it for you.
We just changed the language.
No charge for that. By the way.
Honestly, not gonna lie, it was kind of in my head when we were trying to come up with a name for Dilly's. I'm like, well, how do we say Big Dog Daddy's in Spanish? It just didn't. It just didn't,
Didn't
sound
work?
Right. No.
Yeah, and you mentioned Italian food. I've talked about it before. My wife and I spent probably about a month in Greece, and then we probably spent a week in Italy. And I was like, man, the Italian food in Greece is so much better than Italian food in Italy, in my opinion. I was like, but there's nowhere in the States that has that kind of Italian food where
Right.
like you can get a bowl that's like the size of your hand but feel full, but then like not have the gut rot afterwards where you're just laying there in a coma.
Right.
And I was like, man, we ate pasta every day in Greece, I feel like, especially a good carbonara. Like,
Oh yeah.
gosh,
Oh, yeah.
making me even more hungry.
Yeah.
So let's get back into to Dilly. So you've got kind of Texas cantina menu, right?
Yeah.
Some tacos, things like that. You're gonna do the charcuterie boards, just gonna make it a cool vibe.
Yeah.
Who's and now? Have you and your wife decided like which one you guys prefer to be at? Like, do you guys have like your specialties?
You
Now,
mean as far as
she
who's
makes
going to
the
be running
guac.
what? Or-
Yeah.
So the short term plan is for me to get into Dilly's, get that up and running. Get it operational, work out kinks, get the staff trained. I have a certain expectation of how I want my menu and things to taste, and so I'll make sure everybody's just stays on point on that. So then the goal is once we maybe we'll say a year in and I feel confident about that, then we're gonna flip. My wife will go take over Dilly's, and then I'll come back to Big Dog Daddy's.
Gotcha.
So
you mentioned staffing, and my wife and I have had this conversation all the time. There's like a lot less high school students that are working nowadays, but both of your places are kind of ideal for high school kids to work at
for
in
sure.
a sense, right?
yeah.
How hard is it to find help? And then because you have such a high standard of what your food tastes like, and this is where I would imagine like any non-chain kind of food venue would have a tough time with this, because it takes you a certain time to get people to appreciate things, to understand the way you want it to look, and then to actually execute. And then right when you get them ready to train, somebody offers them $3 more an hour, or
Right.
they don't have to work on a Saturday night, and
Right.
you're starting from scratch. So how has that process been with just one place and now looking at two?
So full disclosure, I've been actually kind of blessed because Big Dog Daddy's has mainly been family run. So my daughter works for me full time. My wife does it full time. My son, he's 16. He works on the weekends. So I've been lucky to have my family as my staff. It's not always been the most pleasant. Anybody who spends that much time in a high stress environment, you get some moments. But no, I've been blessed. Now I have had to hire some kitchen help and stuff like that, and I've gotten really lucky. My wait staff, I'm not going to lie, I think I've got some of the best in the city. They are just outstanding. I love my wait staff to death at Big Dog Daddy's, and I just hired on a great wait staff at Dilly's, and they're awesome. So I'm really excited about that. The kitchen help, I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty nervous about it, because I do have friends in the industry here in town, and so we talk. I've heard people that have come to me, and I can call them and be like, hey, do you know this person? And just be able to find out if they're going to be the right fit. So that's nice to be able to have that as a resource to come to people and talk about that. But I'm not gonna lie, man. When we get in to start hiring, I'm getting a little nervous. I did hire one. She's been helping me out. Got pretty lucky with her, so we'll see what happens with the rest of the staff. So
yeah, anytime you talk about hiring anybody really in general anymore, I feel like it's one of those things where it could go, it's hit or miss. It's tough.
Yeah.
And like I said, we don't have a day and age now where somebody sits at the same place for 2 or 3 years. Everybody's very quick to join the next opportunity because there's always another one out there, it seems like now.
for sure.
So I guess what's going on like right now? So right now you're at the point where you're about to pass through, and you have to go through inspection, and then you're going to open up this one. So hopefully before spring or summer.
If I can just come in here, finish this electrical thing, which is literally a couple hours worth of work, we can get that done. Then it's a matter of having the city fire department come in, give me my inspections. Once we get passed on that, and then it's the health department comes in, and they've been in several times, and they're like, hey, you just give me a call, we're ready to go. We like what you got. Everything looks like it's right on, and you should be. So that process will go really smoothly, and they've been working really well with us on that. And I will say this is something that doesn't get said much about city officials. But City of Medina has some really good city officials in the building department. They want you to succeed. They want to be, they want it done to code, but they want you to succeed, and they work with you. And in the fire department, we have to have things to code, but they're willing to work with you. And so I think there's sometimes becomes a bad rap where you just feel like city officials don't care. It's not the way it is here in Medina, so it's been very surprising.
That's excellent to hear, because we had Gabe on from MK Airsoft, and he talked about his experience. Was it in Willard? I want to say when he was trying to open up a new place, And he's like, I couldn't even get them to come out. Like, they failed me, and they were making me do all this extra work, and then they just never came out. And then they finally come out, and they're like, yeah, it's good. And he's like, are you kidding me? Like, you could have come out. Like, I could have opened up 6 months ago or whatever it was, because it was a long process for him to get one of those locations up and running. And part of it was because it was a county inspector, because the city was so small, they didn't have their own building inspector, so I had to go through the county guy, which was a little bit more difficult. But it's good to hear that Medina's, trying to help and do their part in getting these businesses up and running, because there's a lot of potential in this town for growth. I know we all see the tire places and the mattress factories, and if anybody's a member on the local town boards on Facebook, it feels like that's all that's being built on the main strip.
Right.
And even myself, I'm guilty of like, man, there's just not a whole lot of places to eat, but there really is. There's just some locations that you kind of got to. They're not off your normal route,
right? Yeah.
Yep,
you have to drive to get to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that side of Medina, that has its own distinct opportunity, for sure, because it's a little outside of the traffic area, which is nice. You get to get off the grid a little bit when you're going out there, but there's a lot of room for expansion out there as well. And I know Mike Brock, who owns that building, the Common Grounds. We've actually talked about having him on once he gets back from his next trip. But I know he's trying to expand that area a little bit, him and his partners, which I think one of them might be
also part of the ownership. Yeah.
Yeah, correct, of Pickleback and that.
Yeah,
so it's good to see that place is growing up. It's funny when you look at that building, what it was like 10 years ago compared to now, though.
Even on I think when you first walk up, you're like, there's not a whole lot of expectations when you see the building. It is an old factory. It was an old pickle factory, and I don't say it's run down, but when you get in there and you see the historic value of it, and just the floors alone, the brick and everything that's in there, it's so industrial, but it's done really well. I mean, as a matter of fact, just today you'll see a diversity of all kinds of people in there. Like today, you see people taking photography in there. For school pictures or proms. You'll see them come in taking pictures just because of the industrial factor of it. And then it's just really neat to see. Just for example, the other day there was a skateboarding event in there, and so you've got kind of that skater crowd, and then at the same time you've got an older generation that's walking around shopping, younger crowd that's in there shopping. Like it's really neat to see the vibe of all of it, because there is a huge diversity, and it's really exciting to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you guys? Got any more questions?
Like, how many people do you have on staff besides your family members? Like, do you know offhand? And did you train them before, or were they already trained before coming on the premises?
So I have 3 servers they're all part-time, and then I have 1 part-time kitchen help. That's at Big Dog Daddy. So I have 4 employees outside of my family. I'm not going to lie, I got really lucky with the servers that I have. One was somebody that we knew. She's been in the industry for a while. Nice. So that was something that we didn't really have to train her on. She just wasn't working in the industry, but she was looking, single mom looking for some part-time hours. And then when Pickle Mama's closed, I was stressing out because we were getting ready to open, and I was short 2 servers and did not have a weekend staff. And so literally I reached out to my restaurant friends. I said, look, I'm not trying to scalp here. I said, but I need help, and these people just lost their jobs. So I have availability. So maybe a couple hours later, I got a message on Facebook. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm looking for weekend work. These are the hours I want to work, and I'm available. And I'm like, okay. Nice. And then like 15 minutes later, I got, hi, my name's so-and-so. We're looking for, I'm looking for weekend time. And I was like, I looked at my wife, I had tears in my eyes, and I'm like, we just found our help.
That's awesome.
And so we were able to take, somebody who was in a tragedy and put them to work, and they've been with us ever since. I mean, we treat them well. They're great employees. So yeah, again, with this new staff at Dilly's, I'm really excited about what I got coming. So.
Yeah. We're excited too. Yeah. I'm definitely excited to eat.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm excited for the
I
food.
feel bad. I should have brought some food.
Yeah. Are you guys closed tonight?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So let's talk about that a little bit. How did you come up with the hours that you guys are opened right now at Big Dog Daddy, and then we haven't really said like what do you plan on being opening over at the Common Ground? Because the Common Ground's a niche right now. I was going to ask you that too. Are you a little worried about that?
Yes and no. I mean, as far as the niche portion of it, because I think there's a lot of potential of growth there. I mean, yes, with the Common Grounds, it's kind of like you're kind of hoping to get some people that come in there for that. However, Picklebacks is a standalone place. I mean, people do come in there during the week, for cocktails. The unfortunate thing is there's no food.
Right.
So everybody will go out to eat somewhere else, and then they're like, okay, we'll have a cocktail where we're eating, but they're like, hey, let's go over here and have another nice craft cocktail. And so I think it will kind of break out of that mold. I think once we have food in there and we can advertise, hey, we're a full-time restaurant and a craft bar as well.
I think you guys are going to be really successful because I worked at York and Pleasant Valley, Anthony's in York and Pleasant Valley. I worked there for 4 years as a server/bartender.
Are you looking for work?
No. I actually work at
I need kitchen help.
The way you handled that laptop earlier, I don't think he'd hire you.
I did work the kitchens. I actually worked the pizzas and stuff. I made doughs and stuff for
There he
when I
goes
was
again.
at Anthony's.
He weeds the beds.
Know what?
He's got the hat.
I do. But no, I did that for about 4 years. I liked working in the kitchen. I liked doing the kitchens and I liked doing the bartending because I like talking to people. But I also, back in the day when we were making pizzas on the weekends for parties and stuff, we actually had a flat screen TV right by the pizza oven, and we would play the football games and stuff when we'd be throwing out pizza dough and making pizzas and talking shit about people behind their backs. It was a great time.
Where was this at again?
It's closed now, so
Yeah, well, I wonder why.
it's closed now.
It was an employee problem.
No, it was not an employee. It's the owner of the building. He kept hiking the prices up on the
Menu.
not the menu, but the
Rent. All that, yeah.
The rent kept going up and up, and the owner kept telling us, I don't know how much longer I would keep this up because it was a great place and he had tons of customers. But with the rent, the square footing, he couldn't get enough people in at a time to make up for the rent that this guy was like making them pay.
Yeah.
So, but no, I'm just looking at the times of the place, you guys. It's only open till like you guys are gonna be mirroring the times like Fridays from 5 to 9.
We'll be very similar.
Okay.
We
I'm just like, wouldn't you guys be opening a little longer, a little later?
So we're talking about it. So right now it's just all tentative. We just kind of are kind of mirroring what we did at Big Dog Daddy's. Over there it may be a little bit different. I may be open a little later. Again, it's all just we play this kind of by ear. As you get yourself open, sometimes, and we tried it with, Medina Brewing Company. It's not that we're against staying up a little later, but, when the numbers just didn't seem to kind of add up. And so we're like, well, not sure. And I'm not saying if we didn't put some more effort into it, we couldn't make it work. But we'll just kind of see how things go with Picklebacks and Dillies over there. And, we'd like to do some lunch hours. We've talked about it too. So it's just kind of be able to, and Big Dog Daddies too, just try to be able to work things out with. I guess that's kind of the challenging part with, we are two separate entities at both places, right? Mm-hmm. They're the ones that have the tables. They're the ones that, kind of control that kind of side of things. We just do the food for them. So
Right.
For the most part, it works out. We've had some, disagreements here and there, but we work through things. Just kind of like how you do with anything else in life. So,
Sure.
yeah.
So what you guys, the next venue, what it needs to be is you take all the leftovers from Big Dog Daddy's, you take all the leftovers from the cantina on Friday and Saturday night, you serve fourth meal somewhere in a parking lot from 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock in the morning.
No, I think you should do that. I think you should open up a pizza place because he was talking about wood pizzas, like wood
That
fire
sounds
pizzas.
so good too. I'm just hungry. Let's stop.
We're all hungry.
Actually, I'm not eating in a while myself, so my stomach's over here rumbling. I'm like, man, maybe we should change the subject.
Will you continue the food truck? Is that going to continue on?
No, we actually sold that just before we got ourselves open. I sold it to some guy up in Flint, Michigan area. I didn't want it around here. I felt like it would have been like seeing an old girlfriend. So I was like, I'm like, get it out of here. Take it as far away from me as you can.
I have an old girlfriend that I would love to send to Flint, Michigan, actually, now that you mention it. No names, people. No names. What's the next with Dilly's in particular? Is it more pop-up or like soft openings? Do you have dates for that?
Yeah, right now it's Friday, Saturdays. Friday nights have been like around 5 to 9-ish. Saturdays, it's actually kind of driven off of what Picklebacks or the Common Ground have going on. If the Common Ground has a good pop-up event, and there's going to be a lot of people, then we'll try to cater to that. Because right now it's just myself.
Yeah.
Other than in the evenings, I do have, my server. And then I do have another lady that helps me, but she's got, another full-time job too. So it's just trying to pull hours together. Saturday evenings, if it's going to be, Picklebacks has something going on, then maybe. So it's just kind of, it's all driven off of what's going on.
You're live now. This is happening now.
No. Well, I mean, they're temporaries. We're just doing the pop-ups, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
so this coming Friday and Saturday?
Yeah, I would probably be there doing, actually it was St. Patrick's weekend, so it's going to be nuts. I mean, so we'll be there Friday night. Saturday is the pub crawl throughout the community, so Picklebacks is part of that. So all day
practice day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Sunday we'll be open too for St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, it's going to be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday affair there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what question's coming next?
Please share.
Please.
Can I go to work with you?
I was actually thinking of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be well. That's what I was gonna lead into that by asking. Obviously you're saying 5 to 9, right, or hours, but you don't just show up at 4:30.
No.
So what is a day for you look like? From when do you have to start your day? When do you because smoking meat doesn't happen in 3 hours,
right.
Especially brisket. So,
honestly, I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier. I don't have it down to a science, but I have it down to a good time frame when it comes to smoking meats. So we'll get the smoker running about 9:15ish in the evening, and it'll go till about 10 a.m. in the morning. And so we pull everything off as long as we hit our temperatures and we hit our marks. We pull everything out, wrap it up, and then we have a whole.
So you're starting the night before you open. So if you're open Wednesday, Tuesday night is when you're going in there and hitting those smokers up.
Right.
Gotcha.
So we wrap everything up, hold it, and then if we don't, I'm not going to lie, this is going to be like, is this barbecue sacrilege? I mean, I don't know, but it works. If I don't sell a brisket and it's whole, I will leave it wrapped. It'll go in the fridge. We'll bring it back down on a temp, and then we can slowly bring it back up, and you wouldn't even know that didn't get smoked that day.
Right.
So it's kind of a one-time shot, though. I mean, if you try to do it a second or third time, you're going to lose it. So, it's just kind of the secret in the industry. So if we don't make it, there's times where we know we have something coming ahead. We'll smoke ahead and get it, like especially like, for example, St. Patrick's weekend. All of our corned beefs that we smoked ahead of time. I've actually already sliced it. It's all ready to go. Got it holding and ready to go. So, yeah. But as far as, the evening, so we smoke it overnight, pull it off, and it goes in the holding, and then we're ready for service.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
How is inflation affecting you? And I bring this up because I just went to Chipotle last week, and I had this brain flash back to. I remember you used to be able to go to Chipotle and get a steak bowl for like $6.35. I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but it wasn't that long ago. I don't think.
Like
it used to be like
$12
it was $5.95 for a chicken bowl, $6.35 for a steak bowl.
Yeah.
Now it's like $12.
Yeah.
So how have you? I mean, and a lot of that's happened really over the last 2 or 3 years since you've opened. So have you had to adjust your prices even over this first couple of years substantially because of the cost of different stuff that's going up?
It has been. It's been rough. I'm not gonna lie. Barbecue too. You're dealing, especially if you're specifically doing brisket or you're specifically doing a certain meat that that you're going to do it consistently. Mm-hmm. It's crazy how the prices have gone up. I mean, back in 2019 when I started on the trailer, let's kind of give you an idea. our average price per pound for brisket, and this is choice. I prefer a choice Angus beef. Was about $3.29 a pound. It would fluctuate, especially during the summertime, and you get your weekend warriors out there running your smokers and stuff, and so it kind of drives the prices up a little bit.
He just called us weekend warriors.
I
You see
did.
that?
I
He
called you
pointed-
out.
he-
I called
yes.
you out. I did.
He definitely insinuated.
One hand select all. I saw it. Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, so
I mean,
that's
I've
our
been called
fault. So it's all our fault.
right.
Yeah, it's all
Way
our
worse,
fault.
No,
Way
I
to
give
give
you- I
Biden
give-
a way out.
I give you a hard time. No, for real. But honestly, like it held at a good price, and so it fluctuated in summer times, and it would come back down. Now, and that's 2019, and it did go up a little bit, depending on the market and what things are going on. Now I cannot get brisket under $4.59 a pound. That's consistent, and so it's up down to $1.30 in just over those years. Chicken wings is the craziest price. Chicken wings, when I started at Big Dog Daddy's at the restaurant side of it, the brick and mortar, I was just over $40 a case. That's a 40-pound case, so I was about right around $1 a pound, a little over. Right now, chicken wings, they finally have started to come down, but I was at the height of it a couple months back, $130 a case.
Holy smokes! It's almost
100
triple in value.
Yes, yep, triple in value.
You know, it's funny you bring up chicken wings because I was just telling Evan, I was like, when I was stationed out in Kansas, I remember like all the we were 10 minutes away from Kansas State, so all the college bars, one night a week, you could always find a bar doing 10-cent wings. It's like. I was like, I don't realize how great I had it. Like being
for
able
sure.
to,
Right.
and then you can find a bar that always had dollar beers or dollar long necks. So like you could go downtown Kansas State, $25 in your pocket, have 3 pounds of chicken wings in your
Yeah.
belly, a
Dollar
dozen
beers.
beers, and like
Yeah.
you were set.
Right.
You know, now you can't go. Like chicken wings are expensive. You get a pound of chicken wings somewhere, they're going to cost you $12 to $15.
It's insane. Now I'm probably, I'm not sure my wife's been doing ordering, but I think we're right around $80-ish a case right now.
So it's come down a little
It's
bit.
doubled. It has come down. The problem is so right around Super Bowl time, it cranks up, and then it comes down.
Uber weekend warriors.
Yep. Yeah. So then it comes down a little bit, and then it's staying a little high because March Madness right now. And then once March Madness goes through, then it should start coming down. The problem is last year it didn't come down, so it actually kept going up. $2, $3, $5 a case at a time. So, and this was literally almost weekly. You know, I'm calling 2 of my vendors, and I'm like, okay, what are your price of wings? What are your price of wings? And you're just trying to just finagle your way through this whole thing, and it proposes like a lot of challenges. You know, it is. You know, just another example were pork butts. So when I got in the barbecue business, and then I was at about 99 cents a pound on pork butts, which is cheap. I mean, it's such a easy meat to do, and you get quite a bit out of it as far as yield. Now we are at, I think it's $1.69-ish is where it's kind of been hovering at, but like it's hard to get it back down again. So yeah, you do see it. I mean, it's crazy. And this industry, yeah, we had to change our prices, and I don't like to, I don't like to change prices. I don't want people to be like, man, this sandwich was $14 yesterday, and now I'm at $17. And so we try to put it up a little bit, hoping that we know that the inflation is going to happen, and we're still within our margin. But right now, we're at that point where it's like, do we go up again, or do we hold our breath and hope that things finally start coming back down?
And I can imagine that's got to be a hard part with food in general, is like trying to price yourself to where people feel like they're getting a fair deal. Because I know there's been times where I was like, oh, it's actually, you can go out to dinner and you and your wife could eat for $35. Now it's like hard to get under $50 for 2 people to eat anywhere. And it's not that much cheaper to do and buy, and then it's not practical nor more affordable to go out and buy all the food that you need to cook a meal for 2, because then you're like, my wife just made macaroni salad or pasta salad the other day, $41 to make a pasta salad.
Oh my, yeah.
To by the time you buy, or maybe it's $31 to buy out. I mean, that's just the cost of all the different goods that have gone up over the last couple of years. Where before you used to be able to make that for 15, 16 bucks, it's insane how that affects just the regular people. But now going out to eat it's expensive. And then you topple that on the fact on how much pricing and houses has gone up, vehicles, how much the cost of that's gone up. Gas hasn't gone down at all in so long. It once again, just having a conversation with my wife today, she's like, I don't even feel like I could live comfortably if I made $100,000 a year and lived by myself. Like, just because of the cost of everything. Like, by the time you take taxes out of that, you're bringing home 60, 65. She's like, you're paying. Even if I live by myself and have a small place, like the cheapest apartment that's in a safe area is over $1,000.
Yeah.
Your car payment, it just adds up. And it's like, man, it's crazy. Because I remember being in high school, like, I just need to make $20 an hour. I'm good.
That's a great wage.
Yeah.
That's a great wage at $20 an hour for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now it's like these kids come out of high school like, dude, I got to make $25, $30 an hour to pay my bills. Otherwise, I'm stuck living with mom and dad till I'm 30 years old.
Right. Yeah, I got a 19-year-old daughter, and hey, she's stuck with us, and I don't want her out right now because rent is $1,200-$1,600 just for a small apartment, and I'd much rather her just stay at home, save up some money. Let's get you ahead, and we'll just pray and hope that everything starts coming back down and everything levels itself out again, and then hey, you're in a good position to move in. So.
Well, that plays a part too when you get back to the staffing of your places, because people don't want to necessarily leave. They really enjoy it, but that extra $2-3 an hour they might be able to get somewhere else. It makes a huge impact on what they're able to do for their own families. So kudos to you for making what you have work, and obviously it helps that you own everybody in that building with family, right?
Right, yeah.
You guys aren't going anywhere. You're stuck with me.
We pretty much told our kids when we were getting ourselves ready to open, like, we own you.
So do your kids have any inspiration of, like, eventually if you start to slow down, years from now, do they have any inspiration of, like, keeping the legacy going that you kind of created? Did you see that same passion for food and for cooking out of it that you have? Or
I don't know. It's not really been expressed to me. My daughter did say something to me. She did go to the culinary program at the Career Center. So
shout out to the Career Center, by the way.
My gosh.
We've talked about them, I feel like 4 out of the last 5 episodes.
Awesome.
I'd love to have somebody on from there, but what a great way for kids to just get out of the day-to-day grind of high school and get a jump start on something.
Well, I mean, I kind of change the subject a little bit. I mean, industrial jobs, as far as being a carpenter or whatever, those people are going to they are so needed right now. And so having a career center that are training people like that, if they want to put the work in, the problem is we're going to have to pay for it, because they're going to be a premium.
Oh, absolutely.
If they figure it out and they're like, oh, well, I'm in demand, we're going to be the ones hurting once they figure it out. But
we shared that a couple of times, because Austin, my brother-in-law, is a financial advisor, and he's like, the new millionaires is the trades. Like, you've got plumbers and stuff that are making 6 figures 2-3 years out of school because there's such a need for them, and nobody wants to do that work anymore.
Yep.
And these high school students, obviously everybody wants to be an influencer on TikTok and everything else. That sounds like a lot more fun, and making videos all day and traveling the world.
Yeah.
But those that take the effort, and they're getting into HVAC, and they're getting into gosh, I just drew like mechanics, plumbers,
sure. Yeah.
Electricians, all these different trade jobs.
Skilled trades, man. That's where it's at right now.
In high school, what better way?
Yeah.
I mean, literally after a year at the Career Center, you can find yourself a summer job making $18 to $20 an hour.
Get yourself under the right mentor, and he teaches you, brings you up, yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Sky's the limits.
So your wife your daughter went through the culinary aspect.
Yes. Yeah.
Did she teach you some things after that? Was she like, hey, Dad, like, I got some ideas here?
We make sure we do a good job cleaning things, but she came in and she's like, she made sure everything was being cleaned the right way. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, well, this makes sense. And so, I picked up some knowledge from her.
That's pretty cool.
But, kind of going back to the question, my daughter's kind of expressed a little bit. She works towards it. My son, when he was 12, I actually taught him how to light a charcoal grill. I took him to Keller Meats, and this is how we look for the right kind of steak, and then taught him how to grill the steak. And now I can just call him up or text him, be like, dude, you're grilling tonight, and he'll fire it up, and he does it. So So there, and it's funny because now it's kind of going back to when I was in high school out of necessity, right? So my wife and I, we worked second shift essentially. So he's at home, 16-year-old comes back from track practice. Well, now he's got to make his own dinner. So it's kind of funny seeing how that kind of comes full circle. So I don't know. He didn't really express anything. And to me, all I know is I'm doing this for my family.
Sure.
And we'll make that decision when it comes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Keller Meats, and when we didn't bring this up, we brought it up a little bit earlier. How, and who did you select for your the providers for your supplies? Like, how does that process look like? I'm sure you've bounced around a bunch of different ideas. Have you stayed true to one? Are you always looking for different things as far as like the health of the meat, the quality of the meat, the where it's coming from, the processing, all that different stuff?
So in this industry, especially this day and age, it is everything is so driven off of cost because your margins have to stay within a certain. So like I have a couple different food vendors that I use, and so like if their prices are going up, I can bounce over to another vendor and be like, well, what's your price of brisket this week?
Gotcha.
And so we just use, there's, big distributors in the areas, and we just use distributors. Now, I'm not saying I don't pull off of certain local. Again, like we work with Keller on their brat patties, and it's a very affordable price. And so, those things we kind of work with. And then I also have a good relationship with the butcher up there in the upstairs. And so I can go to him and be like, look, I'm thinking about this. Maybe I can do this. And so he'll come back and give me quotes. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. So, in those aspects, we try to work with local. But as far as your everyday, man, just to try to keep your costs down, you just kind of got to go with your food distributors because you need to cut out that middleman person. You just need somebody who's almost doing it directly to you.
Gotcha.
Kind of almost wholesale.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you notice more and more? I mean, barbecue's barbecue, I guess, but with today's day and age, a lot of people are looking into like where the food's sourced from and stuff like that. Do you notice like that more where people ask you that kind of stuff, or not necessarily? They just come there, eat the food, and shut up.
I do get questions a lot, and being in with that in the building with Keller's, I do get asked a lot. Do you buy your meat from Keller's? I wish I could. I wish I could say I could.
I'm sure you guys have had that conversation.
Oh yeah, we've talked, and
it's not feasible for them or for you to make those numbers work.
Right. So and again, there's certain things that I can be like, hey, look, I want to do this special, and we can make that work.
Right.
But as far as like the sustainability of buying brisket at a consistent rate, it just gets kind of hard.
Yeah.
So
How about the other way around, where like they go up there and they just pick out their brisket and then drop it off to you and have you cook it?
might be a good venture right there.
Yeah, no kidding.
Rent out smoker space, huh?
Right.
Man, what are you going to do on the
space.
weekend? What are you going to do on the weekend, David? Gosh. I'm not going to eat your brisket anymore. If I could go buy a whole brisket from him, shoot, I'll just show up to the party and be like, I just smoked this.
Yeah. What I like to ask this question in unusual circumstances. How has AI affected your business?
I've not given much thought to AI until recently. As a matter of fact, just last week, so it's funny you bring this up. I was trying to brainstorm for, Dilly's Cantina. So you're thinking kind of, taqueria and Mexican style food. How do you do that and play that into a St. Patrick's Day weekend? So I'm trying to rack my brain, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just see how this AI thing works. And so I typed in, Mexican Cantina, St. Patrick's Day menu, and enter. And so the way I like to do things, and when I see things in a ingredients list or a menu or something like that, is I'm like, oh, well, this looks good, but this looks good. So what if I take this and I take this and then morph it into what I want it to be? And so that's kind of what I did. So like I literally created my menu for St. Patrick's weekend through AI. I mean, awesome. I was very impressed with it. I was like, this is a good idea. And what I liked about it is it gave me options to keep selecting more. And so, I generated a whole menu off of AI.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, we talk about it all the time and how AI is going to, people look at it as like a negative thing. Oh, it's going to take away jobs. But I look at it the same way you did. For instance, half the stuff that we do at this podcast, we do with AI.
Okay.
And for instance, you just create a menu off AI, and everybody could be like, "Oh, he created a menu off of AI." Well, hold on a second. He could have spent 3 days trying to create a menu, if not more, trying
Banging
to
my
dive
head,
down.
Or his
banging my
entire
head
life.
on a table,
Right.
like
then,
trying to.
then trying to prepare.
Yeah.
Okay, now how am I going to switch it around? What am I going to call it? What am I going to do this? Whereas AI does like 80% of the work, and now he can be creative. Now you can use the creative aspect of your brain. Okay,
Yes.
brain, how do I take this information and create something that's me?
Absolutely, which is what I really loved about it, is because I'm looking at one. It was like a Guinness beef braised taco, but then 2 things down it said something about lamb. But I'm like, oh wait a minute, what if I pull, instead of Guinness braised beef, we do a Guinness braised lamb, and then I can throw in some pickled, onions and some goat cheese and kind of just play off of that. And so I'm like, wow. And I really like that because it takes time away from me to have to sit there and rack my brain. And the older I get, the slower that brain keeps, it keeps slowing down. So I really was very impressed with it. One of the guys that we hired on at Big Dog Daddy's, he's brilliant when it comes to media things and putting together menus and stuff like that. And so, he himself uses it for, if you look at our website, the way things are worded, he's running it through AI. And so I'm really seeing the value of it. And honestly, it's funny you say that. Maybe it's something I need to start leaning on a little bit more for my business and see if it would be able to help streamline things. So,
Well, it's just okay. So, once again, to go back to that, people say it's going to take jobs away. Like it opens opportunities for somebody. For instance, I am by far not the most technically software driven individual, right? But
Right.
with AI, I can, instead of spending 5 hours editing a 3-hour podcast, I can do it in about 30 minutes, which then allows me to research other things or find guests or talk to, different people about some things they're doing. If I'm, and this is something we just recently started doing, if we're trying to get more attention on social media, I can use AI to say, create a SEO driven, with trendy hashtags description of this video based off of X, Y, and Z. And it does it for me. And like I said, I don't have to copy it verbatim, but I can get some ideas out of that where I'm able to use, and that saved me 30 to 40 minutes. So I can go spend time with my wife still.
Right. No,
or
absolutely.
I can go do something that I want to do. And I think it'll create even more opportunity for people to do something that they normally wouldn't do because they don't have that time to learn that step in between the action and not knowing how to do it.
Yeah.
So it's great for business plans. We talked about, creating a guys' night network. There's a lot of networking companies out there where they have people from this and people from this, and you pay to get in it. And there can only be one person from each job. And I was like, well, what about just a network for men in general in a community that, if you don't have a job, you could show up and just say, this is a little bit about me. I'm looking for work. And there's enough people there that they're like, hey, I'm looking for somebody to do this. Or, just as different ways that you can kind of create a community. And AI gave me a whole business plan in like 13 seconds flat. And I could have kept going more in depth and said, oh, if I don't like this, what did you do? And it would tell me. And it's like a lot of stuff that's coming out that's going to help people maximize their business. And like you said, now that you're spreading yourself a little more thin with an extra place to manage, if you can save yourself a day of trying to figure out a menu and do it in 10 minutes,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
It allows you to be more creative with the menu as far as
Yeah.
the ingredients, but you have kind of a basis and idea. Like I wouldn't know what to call a St. Patty's Day taco, but I'm sure AI would give me a great 3 or 4 names for it real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, huh. I just kept scrolling through. I'm like, well, that's a really good idea. I'm like, wow, you actually are pretty smart.
Oh man.
I think just AI is just a giant time saver for a lot of things. Like, you can focus on other aspects of your career or your business when you use AI 100%.
I just hope it's done within boundaries, right?
Yes, correct.
don't create yourself to be a lazy worker.
Yes,
Right.
correct,
Still be productive from you and your brain, and be able to be
Yes.
like, this is what make things matter. I just don't want it to generate laziness. I mean,
No, I
that's the
agree.
thing we struggle with in this day and age. Period.
Or creativeness.
Yeah.
That's what a lot
Yes,
of people.
for sure.
Yeah, because a lot of
Creativity,
people
yeah.
want to use AI for almost everything. I have a friend that literally refuses to type up work emails, and so he literally downloads his paperwork, and AI writes his emails.
Well, but that's brilliant.
It is good. I mean, that's a great thing, but I'm just like, I'm like, geez.
I emailed my boss something the other day. It was retro to this return to this email. I was working with a client. This guy's known me for like 3 or 4 years. He's known me after a few drinks and everything in between. So I sent him this email, and he goes, and I included my direct boss on it as well as my CRO, and he's like, "Well, I've known you for long enough to know that you did not write this email." It's like, what are you talking about? I absolutely copy and pasted it from ChatGPT and posted it in here. I had to give ChatGPT the initiative. Like, I had to tell them what I wanted. They just made it sound a lot more, a lot better and more eloquent than I would make it sound, because I'm talking to the CRO of a multi-million-dollar organization, not to my buddy I'm drinking beers with. So, what you can use it for, the better,
I'm excited after hearing, the investment that's coming into our country as far as what they want to do with it. Like, those are things that I never really fully grasped or even understood the capabilities of it. So to be honest with you, it changed my mind, right? Especially when you grow up watching Terminators.
Yeah.
And that's what your fear is, right? You're like,
well, that's what everybody thinks, right?
So, well, that's the first thing that comes up. Yeah, it's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Did you hear, or did you see, I don't know if you watched Joe Rogan podcast at all.
I do
but
not.
He had Elon Musk on recently, and if you look at it, like the first 4 minutes, I think Elon has his potential future AI Gronk conversationalist having conversation with them. And it is the funniest conversation ever. We actually talked about, like, dude, could you imagine we could just put my cell phone up there in the corner and like pretend it's a guest, but it's really AI, because that's how good this thing was. And she was hilarious, by the way. But yeah, you go from Terminator to what the potential of AI could actually be, and it's intense. It's
pretty cool.
I do hope they do it right.
Correct.
But I do think that
not take over us.
Well, yeah,
global
eventually,
extinction.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen the series The 100, but eventually AI decides that the whole world needs less people on it.
Oh, I saw the 100 on CW. Yep.
But no, I'm glad to hear that you're using it to kind of expand a little bit. And there's really no limit to what you can ask it. It's funny because we talked about, like, hey, we should shoot a quick couple commercials. Like, I could be like, hey, this is the idea of our podcast. This is what we're advertising. Can you give me a quick 20-second commercial? And it will tell me where to stand, what to do, what to say. And it breaks down the entire commercial in 20, like, and I'm done. I don't need a producer. I hear my dogs are going crazy upstairs. But like,
back here.
I would have had to watch 7 hours of YouTube videos in order to kind of create my own idea. And now it's like, oh, just do this.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay.
But I guess now that you say that, I like that aspect, because there's things in my mind I'm like, okay, but how do I get there, or what do I need to do, or what would help that? And so I think that it's neat that I do have a resource to fall back on that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's something, once again, once you get a little bit of information, it's not like you're not using your own brain to take that information and turn it into something.
Right.
But it's just like, I remember Ask Jeeves.
Wow.
Now we're
Ask
really
Jeeves
dating us.
was so bad.
Now we're dating ourselves.
Yeah,
for
just
sure.
definitely. But well, I appreciate you having on. Is there anything that you want to share with people that are out there? Where can they follow you, or do you have any social media? You guys do anything like that right now?
Our social media is Big Dog Daddies LLC, and then there's Dilly's Cantina. Those are our Facebook pages.
Are you guys on Instagram as well? Or?
Yep. I'm not a big Instagram person. No. I don't know why. I know we will be doing it a little bit more. Again, the guy that I hired on, he's wanted me to do TikTok videos and stuff like that. So he talked me into it, and then we went to go download it, and now you can't find it. So I'm like, but once it comes back, he'll get me on TikTok, and we're going to do some really cool videos and stuff like that, and content for that. But yeah, we have a www.bigdogdaddies.com. That's our website. And then same thing for Dilly's.com or Dilly'sCantina.com. I just got to say something about just Medina in general. It's something that, this is an industry that you would think most people, most other business owners generally would not care about you. But I have come to find that in Medina, there is a group of people really good restaurants, the higher end restaurants in this town that just embrace each other, and that I can pull resource from, because, you know, again, this is an industry that I've not worked in.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, I had a conversation with one of my friends today. I'm like, how do I do this? And he gave me the information. I'm like, that's great. You wouldn't think restaurant owners would do that, but it's not like that. And there's some in Medina there are, but, you know, but for the most part, it's really cool to see a community of chefs, restaurant owners, bar owners all work together. So
Well,
it's pretty
even
cool.
some of the franchises that are owned around here are owned by local people that try
Yeah,
to do
for
stuff
sure.
in the community, try to help out.
Yep.
Yeah, so it is good to see
Yep.
that that's an area that people are working together because it's our food.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I don't want
Medina,
assholes serving my food.
Medina does love to support local. Just the community themselves love to support local. So it's
Yes.
pretty cool.
When you're not working, what do? You got any hobbies? Anything fun?
Yeah, I rode like to ride my motorcycle. I have an Indian that I ride, and that is my stress relief. Like, it's literally out on the road, and I just feel it melt away. So that's something I enjoy doing. Believe it or not, I spend all day in the kitchen with my wife, and her and I will still go out and do things together on the weekends. I love my wife, but not just do I love my wife, I like my wife. So we just enjoy each other's time. So whenever we could just do something, we might go to a winery on a Monday or find something that's open, you know,
That's
those
awesome.
kind of things. So
Love it.
yeah.
Makes life go by so much better.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy
Yep.
spouse, happy house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No spouse, happy house.
That's-
no spouses.
Until you die alone.
Wow.
Anybody else got anything tonight?
No, I think.
Kirk, thank you so much for coming down. We appreciate you being a part of this and getting to share a little bit about your story to the community.
I just want to let you know, Big Dog Daddies has a lot. You have a lot of followers on Facebook.
I do.
Holy moly!
Yeah?
I was like, wow, and he's got some great reviews.
Yeah.
Some great reviews.
I'll be honest with you, that's the one thing I pride myself on is the reviews. I love the 5-star reviews because we work hard for those.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard to be in an industry. Everybody wants to complain about, you know, the server was this and the food. But, you know, being consistent is the hardest thing to do in this industry. And that's what we work hard to do is be consistent.
Well, and when it comes to reviews, and not to extend this, but, you know, first thing my wife does when we get to a restaurant is look at the reviews
First thing.
and then looks at the pictures of
That's
the
what I do.
food to see what it looks like. So when you think about Instagram, man, I could really be happy scrolling a page full of some Big Dog
I need to
Daddy's
do it.
dishes.
Oh, that's what I'm
Alright.
doing right now. What do you think I'm doing right now?
I'll work on that and we'll get that done.
Don't worry. I take some photos for you. Anytime you need photos
Okay.
done, I got some photos for you.
A resident photographer who
Yeah.
says doesn't mean anything, but look at that, making connections.
Hey, of course.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for everybody that listened tonight. Make sure you catch Big Dog Daddies in Medina and check out the new place, Dilly's Cantina, in the Common Grounds here in Medina. And make sure you show your support and share how awesome his food is with all your friends and family members. All right. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Thanks.